Yeah, I did flip mine over.
The war.
Of course, we have the time change here. I had to change your clock here.
That's pretty simple.
It's
Push
easy
your
now.
clock and do. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. Keep it straight. There's a lot of funny things on that thing. I have no idea what the hell they are.
More than you need.
I know I've got a computer and things for Wi-Fi. I found that in the bag.
Just something else to go wrong. I have.
State law requires this body to announce at this time that a copy of the current Open Meetings Act is available at the back of the room where it is accessible to the public. Simpson.
Here.
Sisson.
Here.
McDermott.
Here.
Gibbons.
Here.
Burbine.
Here.
Duker.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Aldrich.
Here. Thank you. I'd like to welcome the public here, but if we can all rise, please. We'll have a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 1 is the consent agenda. Approve this agenda, pay the claims as submitted.
So moved.
Aldrich
Second.
and Simpson.
Simpson.
Yes.
Sisson.
Yes.
McDermott.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Burbine.
Yes.
Duker.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Aldrich.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 2, approve the minutes of the October 20th, 2020 regular council meeting.
Make a motion, we approve.
Mike Sisson.
I'll second.
Troy Urbane.
McDermott.
Abstain.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Burbine.
Yes.
Duker.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Aldrich.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Sisson.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 3, approve the minutes of the October 28th, 2020 special council meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Who got the second?
Mary.
McDermott.
Sisson.
Yes.
McDermott.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Burbine.
Yes.
Euchre.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Aldrich.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. It is now time for the public forum. If somebody wants to bring something before the council that is not on the agenda, now is the time for that.
Well, I'll go first. I come seeking more information on the logic behind bringing a committee-approved city administrator candidate to the council and trying to understand why you would vote against this. Does anyone here know how our last city administrator was hired? You?
We went over it in the meeting. Correct me if I'm wrong.
What's that?
He asked how the last city administrator was hired. We went over that process in our last meeting.
The mayor at that time appointed Bob Rager, and the council approved him.
My point, there was no committee, correct?
What's that?
There was no committee, correct?
Correct.
All right.
Mayor, he's getting into a personnel matter. You're gonna have to be very careful here.
I'm not talking about anybody specifically, I'm just asking questions here, Rod, thank you.
No, I'm telling
Was
you,
it a surprise to the
Go on.
council that a selection committee had been formed? Was it a surprise to anyone?
No. not to me.
Okay.
I knew who was working on it.
Did any of you ask questions about the status of applicants or process over the past 2 months?
Yes.
Somewhat.
Okay. Did everyone understand what the qualifications were?
Yes.
I didn't see them.
Was it in the packet, Mayor?
I don't believe I put the one ad in the packet, and that was my mistake, probably. What the city was looking for.
Okay.
It was in the Kearney Hub, the Florida Daily Citizen, public information.
So the one ad was public information, additional benchmarks and nuances about a fit was dealt with in committee.
Okay. In rough terms, did the candidate have those qualifications?
Of what was listed in the help wanted ad,
Yeah.
I felt like it was a strong candidate.
Okay.
There were a lot of, the way the committee presented it to us is that there were a lot of good resumes that came in.
Okay. As a council, you distrust the mayor or the committee?
I do not, no.
No,
No.
it's not about, it's not about just not trusting anyone.
But if, just to clarify, if, I kind of see where you're going there, but if that was the case, we only need 2 council members. We don't need the rest of us. If we're gonna take every recommendation for what it is, why are we here?
Have you ever been on any boards besides the city council?
Yeah,
Did you ever have committee work?
yes,
And they micromanaged every committee work like this?
yeah, some, yeah.
Okay.
There's some where it's needed, yeah.
Did any of you receive calls from city employees?
I received a couple,
Yes,
Yes.
and also from the constituents that I represent.
That was my next question, I hope so.
And yes.
There are some that say that the city has some significant financial challenges ahead of itself, like the ball field complex. Do you see the next city administrator key to helping solve some of those problems?
definitely.
Absolutely.
I would hope so.
Do you see grants as part of that possible solution?
As part of a solution to the ball field, grants are absolutely part of that.
Did the candidate have those skills, able else to write grants, or good knowledge of them from what you could understand?
Can we discuss
Are
that?
we allowed to go into the details of the resume that was presented to us?
What is that?
Are we allowed to discuss any details of the resume that was presented in
I'm
closed
advising
session?
you just to let him ask his questions and don't answer them. This is
Okay, that's
ridiculous.
fine.
PCDC wants to run the city.
I'm here as a citizen, Rod, thank you.
Go on.
He's running the meeting, not you.
I'm here as a citizen, thank you.
Public forum.
Lastly, do any of you wish to go on public record regarding the factors that influenced your decisions?
No, they do not.
I remind you that you manage all the city employees. You
Tim.
have to cower to them or the city
Tim, I
attorney.
can tell you, there's a couple things I'd like to go on record for because
Okay,
that influenced my decision, and there are things that I did not hear in the closed session, so I feel I can say them. One big thing to me was, I was told that she doesn't live here and she's not going to live here. And that is something that a lot of the residents that had called me had portrayed to me as a problem also. So that played a very important role in my decision.
we hold other city employees to that standard.
We don't hold all of them, I don't believe, but.
Policemen?
What's that?
Well, our policemen live in town, they're kind of important.
They are important, but there's a big difference between 5 minutes away and 20 minutes away.
I think you got a policeman lives in Kearney, if I'm not mistaken. Is that true?
I don't know.
Yes, we do.
I can go on.
Thank you. Dan, are you done?
I think to be safe, that's the one that I feel I can talk about publicly.
Following the advice of council, to be safe, what I can say, I feel like, is that the choice of city administrator was not based on a single issue or a single project, but the 5 of us that voted against the appointment were looking at in terms of what's best for the city overall, as opposed to just one issue or one specific strength.
Well, my biggest concern is where we proceed from now. We just gonna go to number 2, spit him out, go to him or third,
Well,
go to
That's
number 3.
up to the mayor.
We're on that same page with you. We're concerned with that as well. We would like to have the opportunity to at least see some of the applications, any of them. Any of them,
Can I interrupt there?
yes.
You guys wanted to be part of that selection service. We had a special meeting for this selection service. I brought a couple more people onto my committee that you guys chose. You guys sitting around here chose your council president. Maybe you can't because you're new. You guys appointed the council president. You guys appointed the admin committee. That's the ones that I'm using. Any more than that, I got a illegal meeting. I'm not gonna do that. So, moving forward, carry on.
Okay, that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Tim.
I'd like
Thank
to
you,
go
Mr.
on.
Ream. Anybody else who wants to approach the city council? Public forum. If not, I will close the public forum. Thank you. Number 5, adopt resolution 2020-10, establishing a C-PACE partnership with Greenworks Lending. I think this would be Mr. Tillery.
I'm here to answer questions. I think your presentation was made by representatives for Greenworks Lending, attorneys in Omaha who are familiar with this program. I'm here to answer your questions.
Sean, are you there?
I am here.
Okay, good. I'm gonna turn you up there a little bit.
Okay. Hey, Ron, you only get me today. No one from Greenworks.
Okay, Sean, take it away.
Are we up and running on the slideshow there?
You are.
Dave?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Sean James. I'm an attorney with Smith Slusky in Omaha. We were one of the first law firms in the state to work on PACE financing. Dan Smith in our office actually wrote a lot of the documentation that is used by Lincoln and Omaha. Other cities have joined in on it since then. The bottom line for PACE is it does not use any public money. It is strictly financed by a lender such as Greenworks, and then it is repaid through a special assessment against the property, just like a tax, but it doesn't accelerate at all. So if a Greenworks property developer falls behind on an assessment, it becomes a lien on the property, just like a tax lien would be. But it doesn't force a foreclosure at that point. It does survive foreclosures, and it rides with the property going forward. So if that owner ever sells the property, that PACE obligation goes with them, and they are assessed with it every year. Let's see if I can get this to work. There you go. The benefits, in addition to it being a strictly privately funded situation, is you can use it on any kind of commercial real estate, industrial, multifamily, hotel, everything else. The only thing you cannot use it for without having special legislation for it in your community is single-family residential duplexes, triplexes. Anything with 4 units or more qualifies as a multifamily, so they could have PACE financing. It's good for renovations, new construction, redevelopment, anything that's going to put in energy efficient benefits, new roofing that has a better R value, maybe some type of high energy efficient electrical system. There's a variety of things that qualify for it, and you can finance up to 20% of the total value of the property for qualified PACE improvements. You can finance 100% of the PACE improvements as long as it doesn't exceed that 20%. Now, what this means to a developer is they have a fixed rate. It's not going to change over the course of the term of the loan. It's non-recourse. It only applies to the property. And it's secured by these annual assessments. No public funds. Unlike TIF, the tax dollars don't go back. It's not a tax like that. It's an assessment. It's treated like a tax solely for purposes of priority. This is a little bit older picture, but you can see where several states have already started using PACE financing, and Omaha and Lincoln. You'll also have Hastings, Norfolk, and a few other places that we get down to the slides later. Like I said, they're assessed on an annual assessment basis. The missed payment becomes a lien, but it never accelerates. It's only a lien for past due amounts. And there is an assessment contract that lays out the repayment terms. So in Nebraska, this is the history. La Vista was, Omaha, Lincoln, La Vista were the first cities in the state that passed that. Since that time, Hastings, Columbus, North Platte, Beatrice, Grand Island, Fremont, and Bellevue. And now we're looking to Holdridge to see if it will join in as a city. The first county to do it was Sarpy, and they have just passed their county PACE Act, and they are working in conjunction with La Vista. They are doing an interlocal there so that La Vista and Sarpy can share the districts, because counties cannot finance PACE within a city limit or a city's zoning jurisdiction. So for Phelps County, they could not finance the cobblestone because it's within the Holdridge City District. Now they can interlocal cooperate with Holdridge if Holdridge passes a PACE program, but they could not do the PACE program for the cobblestone on their own. So here's some little statistics on earlier PACE programmings. The largest one, of course, was here in Omaha in the Capital District because of the size of the city and the project itself. But that doesn't mean that other cities are not doing it. As I mentioned before, you've got Hastings, Columbus, North Platte, several others that are doing PACE financing. And it can be industrial, it can be multifamily, it can be hotels, retail, commercial, flex buildings, you name it. This is what you can finance. Any kind of qualified engineer or energy conservation methods. New boilers, LED lighting, chillers. You get into the heating and energy generation, or you get into heating, cooling, energy generation. Those types of things are all qualified for PACE. There's a list that gives you a little bit more idea of what can go in. Energy efficient windows, things like that. Retrofits, owner-occupied buildings, new construction. Your nonprofits could even use these if they need to go in and do some renovations and put in some energy improvements. This is real simple math at a basic level. Let's say the project cost without PACE is 100, and the debt that the bank is willing to finance is 70. That means that your developer has to come up with 30 of the 100, 30% of the 100. With a PACE project, the PACE project can finance up to 20% of it, so your cash equity that your developer has to come up with outside of PACE is only 10%. That frees up that developer to get other financing in place. It makes it more lucrative for them to have better operating, and it makes the financing of the project more beneficial to pay back that primary lender, because this special assessment is at a fairly low interest rate. Interest rates in 19 were 5 to 6%, whereas Other investor equity could be as much as 10 to 20. So here's a quick summary of the investments that PACE or the PACE benefits can apply to you. It's available through project completion, so the Cobblestone hasn't gotten its CO yet, they still qualify. They can go back and get a PACE loan through Greenworks or any other PACE financer. It can fund, like I said before, 100% of the energy efficiency improvements. Usually it's a maximum of 20 to 30%. Now, the assessment itself is amortized over the useful life of the improvements. Most of those are 15 to 20 years, so your payback is going to be over a 15 to 20 year term. Non-recourse, it has benefits in the tax purposes for the owner, and it can be passed through to tenants or other users of the property. So going on, senior lender consent is required. In most commercial situations, you're going to have a senior lender. They are going to finance the construction, they're going to finance the purchasing of the property, other things like that. That senior lender has to consent to the PACE transaction. Now, this doesn't put them in necessarily a secondary position. They just have to know that if that borrower defaults on a PACE assessment, it's going to become a lien on the property. That's all it does. There are banks in the Nebraska area that are already familiar with it and have been financing PACE improvements. Others, like Greenworks, come in and they do the same thing. Here's a simple example of what could qualify on this project. I'm not going to go through and read it all. You'll have the opportunity to do that. But the bottom line is the cost construction is $1.3 million, and the benefits overall long-term for energy savings and everything else is almost $1.4 million. So that property owner is making a profit basically through the income that they are saving on the improvements, because they don't have to pay that high a energy cost. This is the Nebraska PACE Act, and I think Dave probably has a copy of all the statutes, but one of the things in Nebraska that's different from some communities is that there's a savings to investment ratio. Now, the savings to investment ratio in Nebraska has to be met, but it can be waived by the PACE district or municipality. In this case, Holdridge could look at a project and say, you know, you don't quite meet that savings to investment ratio, but golly, this is a great project, we really want you to do it, we'll waive that requirement. That's entirely up to you. So here's how you go about implementing a PACE program. You adopt an ordinance for cities. You designate a PACE administrator. It can be an individual, it can be an organization, it can be a variety of things. You can enter into an interlocal agreement and have somebody else run your PACE program for you, so that all you have to do is sit back and collect district money. Publish the program guides and include a fee schedule. Take in the applications, review them, and when you decide that something is passed, then you get to go on to the next step, which the PACE financers will come through and work on it with the property owner and loan the funds to do those improvements. The city receives an annual fee for administering the project, and if they miss a lien or they miss an assessment payment, the city files a lien. That's it. There's not a lot of administrative business as far as the city is concerned. It's all handled at the district level, but the city has ultimate control, because if you decide you want that project and the administrator was going to deny it, you can still approve that project. Okay, so why do communities adopt PACE? If you want to use PACE financing, you can be an existing business, a new business, or a developer. It has no public funds at risk. There's no city or county or taxpayer liability. It gives developers a new financing tool to go out there and increase their equity without having to find actual cash that they need without this benefit. It aids the economic development. because if PACE is available in your community, developers are going to look to your community to come in and put in new multifamily or other businesses, because this helps them finance it. Okay, so far, there are over $500 million plus in commercial real estate financing every year. And there are PACE deals in over 40 states right now going on. Multifamily, storage units, student housing, any of those things would qualify. So if you have questions, this is the time.
Sean, could you
Yeah.
also address the ability to assess a fee or provide a fee to the city to process?
Yeah, there's an annual district fee that the property owner must pay in addition to paying back their assessment. It varies depending upon it. There's also an application fee that can vary as far as how much it is. Cities around the state are charging anywhere from $1,000 a year on up. The bigger the project, the more the fee. And that is paid directly to the city, and it is their administration fee. They get to use that for administering the project. Anything else?
What would you consider to be the administrative burden on the city?
The administrative burden is going to be very limited. You will appoint an administrator, a PACE district administrator, to supervise the Holdridge City PACE district. District is just what the statute calls them. It doesn't mean that it's a special electoral or anything like that. That administrator is the person who would look at the applications and say yay or nay or look further. In the situation with Greenworks, they have pretty much vetted your applicants for you. They know that there's sufficient equity, they know what the engineering costs are, they know what the energy efficiency improvements are going to be, and they have it figured out for you. So it's very limited on that. The application review process could take a little bit of time, but not much. And then it's just the annual assessment. Once a year when you send out the tax statements, you also send out the assessment. And the Greenworks or other PACE lender would give that to you on an annual basis. So let's say their annual assessment is $5,000 and you collect it in 2 increments, then you would send out the assessment for the $2,500 each biannual piece or semi-annual piece, and then you could also add on to that the city fee. So if you have a $1,000 city fee, you add an extra $500 to each assessment, that comes directly to the city.
Sean, could you provide an example of which department or individual within a city organization might take those responsibilities?
They can be, yes, sort of. It can be anybody. And it doesn't have to be anyone actually within the city itself. In Omaha, they have what they call the NCED District, Eastern Nebraska Energy, and they have a director, and he's paid by the city of Omaha. Lincoln has something similar. In La Vista, it's the planning director who handles that, and the same is true in Sarpy County. It could be the city administrator. It could be, if you decide to do an interlocal, you could shift it all over to Phelps County and say, pick an administrator and have them do it. That's what Sarpy is primarily doing with La Vista. They're letting La Vista run their PACE program for them. But that doesn't mean that Holdridge has to. You could pawn it off on Phelps County if you wanted to.
On that point, we've made the presentation to Phelps County, and they'll consider this after the city acts on it.
I think Dave gave you not only the Smith-Slusky handouts, but also one from Greenworks, which tells you a little bit about them. And then there's a green one that says the property says Clean Energy Act. That was actually put out by the Nebraska legislature when the act was passed. And it's a nice, simple way to understand PACE. Once again, the benefits are it's non-tax related, no public funds, gives developers an extra set of equity options to come in and do things that save them energy over the long run. And it makes it possible for developers to do things that are more energy efficient.
Larry?
Mhm.
If there is a non-payment or late payment, whose responsibility is it to collect it? Is that up to the city then, or you guys take care
No,
of
the
that?
city only has to file a lien. It's up to the PACE lender to actually collect. The city doesn't have to do anything other than record the lien. So let's say they've missed a payment on an assessment, the lender will send you a notice with a lien ready to file, and all you have to do is file the lien.
Okay, thank you.
That way, if anyone coming along knows that the property is subject to that lien.
We became aware of this program earlier this year through a developer that was associated with the Cobblestone Hotel. That's why we've been introduced to Sean and her firm. But the program has appeal for a number of other applications in the community as well, including the possible renovation of the Dale Hotel. The new owner of the Dale, we've made them aware of the program. They're going to have to replace windows and upgrade a number of things within that structure, and this program could be useful to them. We're also looking at it as an advantage to talk to industrial firms about financing certain aspects of new projects there too. So this would be a real advantage for the community, especially since not every community in the state has adopted it yet. Any additional advantage we can give ourselves is a good thing.
What's the council think?
There's just simply an application process that an individual investor would go through to, just like he was going to a bank or anyplace else. Just, you know,
That's right.
sit down and talk.
And Sean has all of that material available.
Sounds easy enough.
Larry?
I like the idea. I'd make a motion that we approve it.
I'll second. Mike Sisson seconds it.
Burbine,
Yes.
Euchre,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Aldridge,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Sisson,
Yes.
McDermott,
Yes.
Gibbon.
Yes.
Thank you, council. We're going to put it to work.
Thank you, Ron.
Okay.
Thank you,
Dave,
Sean.
Sean, I will talk to you tomorrow
Okay.
and coordinate with you to get all the documentation together.
All right, sounds good, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Same page here. Item 6, consider first reading of ordinance 2441, adding a loading zone in front of 409 West Avenue. Dane,
It'll be just a moment, Chief's got to give me his copy.
what's that?
In just a moment, Chief has to give me his copy before it's 2414. Thanks.
You don't have that memorized?
I don't have it. It's not very long. Ordinance 2441, an ordinance amending Chapter 5, Article 4, Section 5-426 of the Holdridge Municipal Code pertaining to traffic regulations, to repeal all other ordinances or parts of ordinance in conflict herewith, to provide for the severability of all parts hereof, and to designate the time described when this ordinance shall be in effect. Be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Holdridge, Nebraska.
Thank you. Motion to approve first reading.
So moved.
Aldrich, Ben Johnson. We have a motion and a second discussion. I do. Thanks for asking. You know where all these are? How many loading zones do we have in town? Item 1, Holdridge Laurel. Where's number 2? Where's number 3? Where's number 4? Used to have one, number 9. Abramson's. I think we need to clean up our loading zones sometimes. But moving ahead, we have a motion and a second as far as adding to a loading zone here. So I would recommend we bring that to the council.
We have a motion by Aldrich and second by Johnson to approve the first reading. Simpson.
Yes.
Sisson.
Yes.
McDermott.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Urbon.
Yes.
Bucher.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Aldrich.
Yes. Let's say for the benefit of our business, asking this, I'd like to suspend the rules and move forward with it.
Motion, okay.
No second.
Sisson.
Yes.
McDermott.
No.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Urbon.
Yes.
Bucher.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Aldrich.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Final reading, ordinance 2441. An ordinance amending chapter 5, article 4, section 5-426 of the Holdridge Municipal Code pertaining to traffic regulations, to repeal all other ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, to provide for the severability of all parts hereof, and to designate the time described when this ordinance shall be in effect. Be it ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Holdridge, Nebraska.
Motion to approve final.
So moved.
Gibbons.
I'll second.
Burbine.
Urbon.
Yes.
Bucher.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Aldrich.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Sisson.
Yes.
McDermott.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Motion carried. They thank you, I'm sure. Item 7, adopt resolution 2020-11, encouraging adherence to public health recommendations and guidelines related to COVID-19. I've had several contacts. People would like to have this. This is not a mandate. This is strictly we're encouraging. I think Mark Harrell can probably enlighten us more on the COVID, but maybe he can't with the privacy. But my daughter-in-law said, treat this like it's the plague. You know, we don't know how it's going to affect us. I thank many of you for wearing masks tonight. I can't hardly speak with the mask, and with the mask it's just a whole lot harder to be understood. But I would like to have the council approve resolution 2020. The COVID has spiked here the last few weeks. I just like to bring this to everybody's attention as much as we can to social distance. Thanks, Randy. Sanitizing our hands, washing hands, masks for everybody. Do we need to read this resolution?
I move that we adopt resolution 2020-11.
Second by
I'll second.
Mike Sisson.
Simpson.
Yes.
Sisson.
Yes.
McDermott.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Urbon.
Yes.
Bucher.
Yes.
Johnson.
No.
Aldrich.
Yes.
Thank you. Before we go into litigation number 8, will be, I presume, closed session on the council. We'll do the open discussion for the staff and the council. Start with the chief.
The only thing I have is the new unit is getting stuff put in it right now, so in it now.
Along with the police department, we had some thefts in our neighborhood the last couple nights. And I was impressed. Officer Stewart solved it within an hour. So, thank you. Your department.
We've had a couple.
I don't know how he did it, but
Yeah, we've had a couple other thefts that officers look to and have done a good job of solving it. And a lot of times we don't put press releases in the paper on that, and maybe we should. A lot of them are reported and then we never follow up and tell people if they've been, unless they go to court and then they are convicted and it shows something about that.
thank you. Dane?
I do not, thank you, Mayor.
Troy?
Nothing?
Mr. Fuker?
Nothing, thank you.
Ben?
I was just wondering if we had a remittance report from the, is it the roadway inn still?
Yeah, they're both, one was in the last packet, and these two are from the other two.
Then we had a difference in the adjustments for the Plains one. Was there any clarification on that?
Yeah, that was because there is somebody that stays there for like more than a month. They've been there for longer, and if you stay for more than a month, then it doesn't count as a lodging.
Okay. That's it.
Randy?
Oh, thank you, Mayor.
Doug?
I'm good.
I know you're good.
I just don't know how good. I have nothing.
Mary?
No, thank you.
Larry?
I got a question on the ordinance we passed for the no parking zone. Didn't we go through this list here a while back and knock?
I think we
through it
did,
all?
but-
Weren't they just cleared off?
Go ahead,
or
Kim.
I believe we cleared it up in 2017, but per mayor's request, I'll go through it again this week. And I will put down locations for everyone and get it in the next council packet. I'll put the same ordinance in there and put locations on there so everybody knows where we are. But yeah, you're right, because we got, I believe Mark Abramson wanted his removed, and there was one more that we removed that was
Yeah, because
requested.
I thought we went
I think-
through that.
Yeah, I think it was down, south of the old Elks. I think there might have been, or south of that building on Third. I believe that was it.
And it never was just taken off of here?
No, they're taking off.
Okay.
No, I took off, because that's actually, I was able to get this done rather quick because I had this on saved on my
Okay.
computer. But I'll go ahead and print it out again and put locations so everybody knows where they're at.
So we can remove those. And with Mark Abramson, his deal was, you gotta have the post in the center of your parking stall.
Right.
When they back up to unload or load,
They can't do it.
that post does not help them any, so they just as soon take a chance and find the stall.
Yeah. That's it.
Good question. Rod?
No, sir.
Brian?
Nothing.
Can we hire somebody to get our council gallery put together and hung back up? Can we hire somebody here in the next couple of weeks?
I already mentioned that, I would give that. I'd like the city employee to haul it down to my shop, though.
Okay.
You're talking about that picture over there? What's wrong with it? Just needs a new wire on the back?
It's fallen down. It fell down several months ago.
So you just need
And it's damaged the frame.
Oh, the frame is damaged. I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Randy, I'll just call you when you're available and we'll get it down to you.
My door's always open,
Okay.
bring her on down.
Okay.
And we talked a little bit about the council president and administration. This council, the mayor does not appoint them. The council selects your own council president, selects your own committees. We're going to lose 3 council members here real soon, next month. So be thinking about who you want on admin committee, public safety committee, municipal service committee. Be thinking of that and talk with the new council members, Corey Weiss, with Dale Harrington, and whoever's in Ward 3. So talk amongst yourselves. We've got a month to talk about that. So, the other thing I'd like to ask is, we've had a tanker out to the landfill for several years we bought for a project. What's going on with our tanker that we bought a big water tanker for something that's been out there for several years. I think we spent $3,000 for it.
Or by the grass and leaf area.
Yeah, down by the,
I'll check on that. I'm sorry, I don't recall about that one.
yeah.
That's all.
Just check on that. Other than that, it's time for number 8, consider litigation.
Move we go into closed session.
Second. Next motion,
Second?
Who seconds?
Ben?
Ben?
Sisson,
Yes.
McDermott,
Yes.
Gibbons,
Yes.
Burbine,
Yes.
Duker,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Aldridge,
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
How many people are out in the hall? I didn't even see. See Jessica?
I just saw one. I don't know if it was a guy or gal.
Oh, yes, Gordon Tunian.
Tyler.
I gotta get some things shut down here.